Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to another edition of Hump Day Wednesday. And I do have to admit, this is a little bit prolonged. This Hump Day Wednesday was probably supposed to come maybe 2 weeks ago, but better late than never. And so on this good Hump Day Wednesday, I am giving you all my Rome recap. I was in Rome earlier this month and I had a blast over in Rome, you guys. It was my first trip over to Europe. Now, I've traveled internationally, but I have never traveled over the pond, as they say. I've never traveled over the Atlantic Ocean. And it was a long flight, but not too bad, okay? I really don't understand it. Let me just say this. God bless our ancestors, because it's a long trip by plane. Okay, so I left my residence here in the U.S. I had to travel from Texas up to Toronto, and I had to catch a flight from Toronto, Canada, over to Rome. Now, the flight to Toronto was not bad. It was like a 3.5 hour flight. However, when I got to Rome, there was a bit of a kerfuffle. Okay, so there was no, they had a delay with the food services. So there was no way they were going to board our flight to Rome, which was an 8 hour flight, 8.5 hour flight, with no food service. So we had to wait, and the flight was delayed about 3 hours. Now, I didn't trip because I wasn't in a big rush or anything like that, but there were a lot of people that were trying to get back to Rome. They were very upset because it was messing up, their connecting flights over in Europe, or, just other stuff they had going on. But luckily, I was on vacation, so I was patient. Anyway, so for the first time, I flew Air Canada. I had never been on a Canadian flight. I had never been on a Air Canada flight. And it was nice. Very nice planes, wonderful seats, comfortable seats. Now, I was a little apprehensive about the trip from Toronto to Rome, because I, took the budget sensitive seat, and I did not upgrade. So I was like, Lord have mercy, this is going to be an 8 hour flight. I hope these seats aren't tiny, and I just hope it isn't bad. But it wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. I'm not a big person, so it wasn't like, I was tight in my seat. And the person sitting next to me, luckily, was not a huge person either. It was, full size male, but we weren't like tight. And the plane was nice size plane, so it wasn't tight. So it was a pleasant 8 hour flight once we got in the air. Anyway, the Air Canada flight, so just like any other standard American airline flight or Delta flight, they had the TV and the headrest, all the great amenities. And also, when you fly that long, you do get a meal that you don't have to pay for. Okay, so when you do the domestic flights now, you have to pay for every single thing. All you gonna get complimentary maybe a bag of peanuts and some water, juice, or soda, half a cup. Okay, but when you travel internationally, you travel on a flight longer than 5 hours, they give you a meal and such and such. So it was cool. The flight was at night, so that was perfect. I got a chance to get some sleep, get some rest, so that when I finally made it to Roma, it was Sunday the next afternoon. So I got there right around 2:30, 3 o'clock p.m. Keep in mind, Rome is 7 hours ahead of my Central Standard Time here in Texas. So I left on Saturday afternoon at about 2, and I arrived in Rome the next day around the same time. So I had been up and moving for 24 full hours. Anyway, got to Rome, and I had looked at the forecast, and it was supposed to be in the mid to upper 50s, mid to low 50s, with showers, with rain. So I was like, Lord, I had a long talk with the Lord. He and I discussed the weather. Okay. And so once I got there, it was still a little gloomy, but the Lord had heard my prayer. Okay, and the weather ended up being really nice. I was able to do all the outdoor activities that I wanted to do. So got to Rome on a Sunday, and we were leaving out on Thursday morning. So that gave me 3 whole days to get in a few good activities. So got there, got to the hotel room. What I noticed immediately from the trip to the airport, once I got off the plane, not a lot of black people, okay? Which I kind of knew, but it's very obvious. Not a lot of black people. I saw a couple of children in the airport who were looking at me like I was something they never seen before. Okay, so keep in mind my hair is a little old now, but when I went to Rome, baby, it was fresh and banging. Okay, so I was getting all kind of compliments and all kind of looks, and I had been told earlier that the Italian men love them some melanated women. I don't know that to be true because I'm spoken for, so I know, but I was getting looks though. Okay, I was getting looks. Anyway, so I smiled at a couple of children who were just looking because they had never seen somebody like me before, which is interesting. I'm sure any child would feel that way if they see a person that, they've probably seen on TV before. They've seen black people on TV before, not necessarily in person. So it was an experience, I'll say. Anyhow, so get into the car. What I immediately noticed, because I get a small tad bit of anxiety when I'm driving. Not when I'm driving, but when I'm in the passenger side of somebody else's car and I have no control over what's going on. I have a smidget bit of anxiety. Okay, I've been in a bad car wreck before, so that's where that comes from. Anyway, I noticed that most cars in Italy are very small. Okay, when I say small, I mean Mini Cooper, like Fiat, like smart car, itty bitty Urkel car, small. And then I realized why once we got into the city. The streets are so super narrow, like way narrow, like really narrow. Like, go back and look at the Italian Job, look at the beginning of that movie and how tiny and narrow the streets are. That is a real thing, okay? So I live in Texas. We like big cars around these parts. They drive in F-150s and big Suburbans and all kind of huge expeditions. Big, huge. No. Okay, no. None of that. We were in a small Volkswagen SUV, and that was probably like one of the bigger cars that was on the road. Anyway, also notice that once you got into the city, you may or may not have dividing lines in the street. Okay? It's a free-for-all. You get in where you fit in. So I was on the edge of my seat. I was holding on for dear life, and I was just praying that it got to the destination at the hotel safely. And we did. Great location. We were right in the city center of Rome, at the DoubleTree. It was a beautiful hotel. And they had some really nice artwork in the lobby area. Really nice. I was surprised to see that DoubleTree figurines, but the face of the lady, it was like she may have been Caribbean, she may have been African, I don't know. She had African features, but she had like a head wrap garb on, so she could have been Caribbean, I don't know. Whatever the case it was, she had very full lips, nice full nose, nice cheekbone. She looked like me when I looked at her. I was like, who is that? What? Okay, Roma. All right, DoubleTree. Very nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. Anywho, so when you get to Rome, this is what they do in Rome. They drink, okay? They drinks in Rome. Okay, either you're going to have a wine or you're going to have an Aperol spritzer, okay? I think that's what they call it, an Aperol spritz. It's a little orange concoction with Prosecco and Aperol alcohol, and that is the drink, honey. That is what you're going to have. That's the drink before they get to the dinner drinks. Okay, that's the drink that they have all day, every day. It's orange and it's Aperol spritz. Okay, and so you're gonna get some wine. You're in Italy, you're gonna get wine, but that orange Aperol spritz, that is the drink. Okay, I noticed everybody was drinking that. So Get there on the first day, get checked in, uh, make it to the hotel safely. Room was beautiful, had a nice terrace. Now we couldn't really enjoy the terrace because it was kind of cool. It was really cool. It was mid 50s, 50ish. It was cool, but it was a beautiful view. Um, you know what I really noticed? What I really realized is that the United States is a really, really, really young country. Like a really young country. Rome has been around for years, for centuries, for like tons and tons of years, thousands and thousands of years. Okay, the U.S. technically was solidified a real country in 1776. That's like 248 years. So it's not very long. Okay, it's not very long at all. We are an infant as far as being a country in the scope of world and global countries. We're infants. Okay, and I say that because the architecture and the buildings and everything in Rome, you can tell that they are old but very well kept. Okay, and so I'll get to that later. So, okay, relaxed that first day, that Sunday, got in, relaxed, took a shower, trying to make sure that, my jet lag wasn't knocking me out and all that. So we get up the next day, Monday morning, we hit it. Ate breakfast at the hotel, which was yummy, by the way, DoubleTree. And then we go. The first place, the number one place on my list of things to do, I wanted to go to the Coliseum. Now, a lot of you know that the Coliseum is the place where is the backdrop to the movie Gladiator. That's where all the fighting and stuff took place, and that's where all the fighting and stuff was filmed at the Coliseum, where all the gladiators. Now, y'all know I love boxing, so everybody want to be a gladiator when it comes to boxing. You say, I'm a warrior. I'm a gladiator. Well, the Coliseum is everything that it looks like on TV. It's massive. Okay, so we had a tour guide, and she gave us a nice, honest tour about the city of Rome. Okay, so the Colosseum is actually huge, but it's made up of 5 individual amphitheaters. So they put all these amphitheaters together and they make up the huge Colosseum, right? Okay, so this is the one thing that my tour guide told me, which I kind of knew, but she, reminded me, and she gave her input. So she says Rome is known for many things, but Rome did not necessarily invent anything. Rome is famous for taking someone else's or another country's idea and building on it or making it better or improving it, which is very true because if you think about it, a lot of the Roman culture comes from Greek culture. Okay, so all the mythical Greek gods and stuff like that, you have a set of Greek gods and then you have a set of Roman gods who mirror these Greek gods. They're the same people, they just have given them Roman names. So that's basically what she was saying. But the one thing that Romans did invent, she told me, was concrete. Hence the huge Coliseum. So when they invented concrete, they went bananas with the concrete. Okay, it's all over everywhere. Okay, you know how in different countries, different parts of the world, you have homes and buildings that are built of different things. Well, it's concrete city, which is why I was so chilly over there too. Rome reminded me of. I got 2 different kind of American city feels from Rome. I got Rome. For me, Rome was a fusion of New York City and New Orleans. New Orleans. If you guys have ever been to Rome, let me know down in the comments if you agree with me. I got a New York City feel because there's walking everywhere. Everybody walks everywhere. There are shops and stores and pizza stops and restaurants and bars all throughout the city. Every block, every 2 steps, you're gonna find a store. It's if you walk everywhere. A gelato shop is every 2 windows down. it's walking, 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 and it reminds me of walking, and a lot of people on the street, kind of like New York City, all the time. It's always buzzing, and um, the drinking and the festiveness of New Orleans, of the French Quarter, and all the streets are cobblestone. So that's the feel that I got. Needless to say, I enjoyed Rome. Okay, I love the Romans. They were very nice people. And I believe of all the pilgrims, the Caucasians, I believe that the now, this is my very limited opinion. I do know that I'm very limited on experience as far as dealing with Caucasians from other cities and other countries. But the Romans are fun. They are naturally joking, fun filled, like not taking themselves too seriously kind of people. Every time we had an encounter, or like a personal encounter, it was always very positive, very upbeat, very jovial, just nice, genuine people. That's the feeling. Listen, I read people very well. But that's what I got from there. I would love to go back and spend more time. But I didn't have enough time to get everything in, so I will be going back. Don't know when, but I would love to go back. Anyway, so the Coliseum was great. It's grand. It's spectacular. And right now, the real Coliseum, like when we see it on the movies, they have the stage, like the floor is down, but the real Coliseum is open. So you can't like walk on the Coliseum floor because there is no Coliseum floor. They have rails up, but you see the opening. And what's under the opening is where they housed the fighters or the animals that used to fight and stuff like that. So when we see the Coliseum on TV and it has a floor, that's manufactured, because the real Coliseum is open. It doesn't have a floor. You'll fall down to your demise if you go over that rail. Anyway, so it was beautiful and magnificent. And at the same time, when we got there that morning, it was drizzling. I had another little conversation with the Lord. I said, listen here, I need to enjoy this experience. Can you please hold off on the rain? And he listened. He obliged me. The sun came out. It was still cool, but the sun came out. The skies were blue, and it was so beautiful. So that was day one. Now, I know everybody is wanting to know about the food. I was so excited about the food. I'll say this about the food. I have to admit that I went with like huge high expectations. But my expectations are kind of skewed, y'all. And it's three reasons why. And I have to be honest about this. So, first of all, I'm going to Rome and I'm coming from Texas, which means that everything in Texas is huge. So, I'm used to big, large portions. And I'm thinking family style Italian food, we're going to get huge, large portions. Well, that's not the case, okay? They don't eat them big old hefty size portions that we do down here, okay? Not even just in Texas, but in the U.S. in general. We some wasteful people. We get them large sizes. We think we're supposed to be able to take food home and all that. No, that's not how normal people live. You get the portion size that you're going to eat for that time period, for that sitting. That's what you're supposed to get. So that's number one. I was going over there as a Texan. Then I was going over there as a black Texan. Okay? Well, my taste buds are already skewed. Like black people, we like concentrated flavors. We like flavorful food. So I'm expecting to get some robust tomatoey red sauce and some robust Italian flavors. And that's not what I got. Okay, I'm not going to say the food was bad. I'm just going to say my expectations were not what they should have been. I should have been going over there looking for not looking for anything really. I should have just been going there to experience the authentic Roman Italian cuisine. Okay, but I wanted robust and I just did not get robust. Okay, what I did get was fresh, okay, vibrant tomatoey flavor. I did get fresh, vibrant food, fresh fish. Okay, everything was fresh, right on the coast. So everything is fresh, but I wanted deep, rich flavors. And maybe I need to go to another part of Italy for that. Maybe I'm thinking Sicily or something. But I was getting light, healthy, fresh flavors. Now the carbonara was delish, yum delish, okay? But the red sauces, I wanted some deep, robust flavors that I just didn't get. Was not bad, but it was like it could have used some of this, it could have used some of that. And then I had to just ring myself in and say, Lanika, you're not in America, honey. Okay? Those taste buds, throw them away. Okay? You're not in America, honey. Everybody does. We are excessive here in America. And then if you're black and we're talking about cooking, we super excessive. We season until the ancestors say stop. We don't really do measurements. Some stuff, but most stuff, no. Okay? I'm seasoning till I feel like it's right. They doing a pinch over there. Okay? We seasoning. They doing a pinch of this and a pinch of that. So that's what I had to come to grips with. It was not bad. If I had to grade it, I would say B. B plus. The gelato was fabulous. And we did find one restaurant that seemed to give me a little bit of the more depth that I was looking for in flavor. But I only got a chance to eat there once. As far as the pizza is concerned, now y'all know I'm a Ninja Turtle. I'm a pizza connoisseur. So I was on the prowl for a nice pie. I just didn't find it. And maybe I wasn't there long enough. So I'm not going to completely, be discouraged about it. But I just didn't find what I was looking for. But what I did find out was pepperoni pizza is my favorite. Well, pepperoni in Italian means pepper. It's not the little meats, the little salamis that we call pepperoni. It's not the same thing. Okay? So, learn some things. Okay? So, the second day, we went shopping. I went to the mall, the outdoor mall in Rome. It's fabulous. Okay? Fabulous. All the wonderful stores that we're used to in the U.S., they had them there. And then there were the high-end stores. You had the Gucci's and the Louis and the Dior's and, things like that. It was beautiful. Beautiful freaking city. Architecture is second to none. Okay? Ambiance is fabulous. The people are out and about. They're walking. I don't care if it's cold, if it's hot. They out there. Okay? It was great. Absolutely fabulous. So that was shopping, did a little window shopping. Okay. So then the third day, we went to Vatican City. We went to see the Sistine Chapel. And the Sistine Chapel is the famous Michelangelo painting that he did. You know it. If you don't know it, you do know it. But it's supposed to be one of the most famous, most beautiful works of art ever in world history. Okay. I loved it. It lived up to my expectations. But what I loved even more about it is the way they preserve it and the way they preserve its, the way they honor it. Okay. So going throughout the whole Vatican City tour, you could take pictures, you could film, you could video. But once you enter the Sistine Chapel, there are no pictures. There is no video. That is a sacred place for them, and you cannot film or take pictures there, which I was so happy about because nobody holds anything sacred anymore. So I was very happy to see that they did that. And it was so funny because on the tour, it was me and my group, and then it was a group of guys from Chicago, ironically, that were also in our group. So that was fun. Just to see some other Americans and Black Americans at that. So that was nice. But the Sistine Chapel is beautiful. Michelangelo and the finger, look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's beautiful. If you're into that kind of thing. Now, if you're not into that kind of thing, it probably won't move you. I loved it. I actually went to Oliver Wendell Holmes Classical Academy middle school in Dallas, Texas. So I was introduced to the classics and the Iliad and the Odyssey and all those Greek and Roman literatures way back then. So I had been reading about it and I've known about it for a while, but to see it up close and personal, it was a great bucket list item for me to have. So anyway, that was on the last day. I enjoyed it. Rome was great. I I have nothing but good things to say about the Romans, and I shall be back. And I understand the statement now. When in Rome, do as the Romans. Okay, so I'll be trying to learn how to make that Aperol. Is that what they call it? Aperol spritz here in the States until I get back to Rome to get my own. Anyway, y'all, I've been babbling a long time. I hope you enjoy my recap of Rome. It was beautiful. I would love to go in the summertime. I know it's even more beautiful then. But y'all have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you guys back on Friday. Friday. It's a big fight week, so y'all know we'll be back. Anyway, have a fun, good time for the rest of the week, and we'll see y'all on Friday.